is accused of forcible religious conversion at the Nashik unit of the IT giant TCS, is currently in Mumbai and is expecting her first child, according to her family. The authorities are probing her role as the HR manager in handling internal complaints and possible POSH violations. She is accused of failing to act on repeated complaints raised by women employees. Now, Nida Khan remains a central figure in this investigation regarding the suppression of workplace complaints, and she has been evading the arrest so far. However, her advocate Baba Sayed has said that within a day or two in the Nashik High Court, Nida would be filing her pre-arrest bail plea. Her legal team is potentially framing her pregnancy as a key factor in anticipatory bail application. Baba Sayed has also said that Nida Khan was never the HR in TCS and is not the mastermind, and her name is mentioned only in one complaint report. If you look at the FIR, there are no mentions of forced religious conversion. The lawyer goes on to say, I don't know why she's being portrayed as the mastermind when her involvement is only mentioned in one complaint. The only allegation against her is that she hurt religious sentiments, is what the lawyer claims. If she comes forward, she will be arrested. She was never the HR, is what her lawyer has claimed. The suspension letter sent to her through the company also mentions her as a process associate. At the center of the TCS Nashik BPO sexual harassment case involves multiple FIRs, shocking allegations, a conversion syndicate, and a sexual harassment network operating inside one of India's largest IT firms. The case stems from allegations made by 8 women who have accused senior colleagues of harassment, sexual exploitation under false pretenses of marriage, and religious coercion spanning 4 years. 7 people have arrested male employees. Mohammed Danish Sheikh has been booked for luring a victim under the false promise of marriage and pressured others into religious practices. There are other male colleagues that have charges against them, including intimidating staff and making obscene remarks about female colleagues. Tausif Attar, Asif Aftab Ansari, all senior employees implicated in various FIRs for stalking, harassment and forced religious conversion attempts. The wife of one of the arrested employees, Danish Sheikh, has claimed the allegations stem from a personal relationship gone wrong between him and a complainant, stating that the relationship is known in the office. However, the investigation expanded due to multiple FIRs filed by other women, and the police indicated that the arrests are based on allegations about several victims, not just one case. Investigators believe the case involves a larger nexus within the company. A high-level internal probe is underway with a special committee recording statements. National Commission for Women has taken suo cognito note of this case as well. TCS scandal has now reached the Supreme Court, with advocate Ashwini Upadhyay filing a plea to treat deceitful and coercive conversions as a serious national concern, arguing that such acts qualify as a terrorist act and amount to an indirect war against India. While the investigations continue, questions are being asked about the role and accountability of internal committees in TCS, especially senior HR personnel are themselves under scrutiny. But this case has put a spotlight on workplace safety in India's IT sector, and this case raises serious concerns about corporate accountability. I'm being joined at this point by A.K. Jain, former DGP Uttar Pradesh, Rekha Agarwal, who's an advocate with Supreme Court, as well as Dr. Kiran Preet Kaur, who's a human resource expert and global talent acquisition strategist. Thank you very much, all three of you, for joining me. Apologies. It was a big day in Parliament. We came late to you. Sorry for keeping you wait for a while. But first, straight to you at this point, A.K. Jain. What do you make out of this, A.K. Jain? This is a case that seems to be blowing up at so many levels, so many concerns that seem to be emerging out of this. One is just the level of allegations that have come. And now there seems to be, despite all the allegations and complaints, there's an FIR which doesn't seem to be in line with the complaints that seem to have been coming out in public.
This case has assumed a lot of importance because TCS is involved. It was not expected that TCS, there will be collapse of hierarchy, collapse of a grievance redressal system in an organization like TCS. Now, a new fact has come that Nida Khan was not HR head. I think she was just acting as a conduit, and she was a go-between between the team leaders and women employees. So this is all the more serious. What were HR people doing? Were they inactive? Were they also hash, but did they also hatch a conspiracy for all this? And I think I have already said on few channels that the highest ranking person of TCS in Nashik should be summoned at police station, and they should not be spared, because it was their duty to ensure that women working under him at TCS are safeguarded, and nothing wrong is done to them. But even then, all this was going on, and this is something very, very serious. And I think NCW has also formed a committee headed by some retired judge. Uh, Something should come out of it, and nobody should be spared, whosoever is involved in it, especially HR people, the head of the hierarchy of TCS at Nashik.
Dr. Kiran Preet, very quickly to you at this point, at what levels are these lapses? You know, one, first it comes out that she was the HR head, now she's coming out as somebody that's a process team lead. There was no direct response or communication, either refuting the allegations that had come up in the beginning from TCS, neither any admission of sorts. There seems to be multiple complaints that were filed within the corporate entity that were brought up with the HR that were completely overlooked or brushed aside by the HR, at least based on the complaints. What do you make out of this, Dr. Kiran Preet?
Well, it clearly reflects that perhaps they normalize the complaints. There is a clear power imbalance and a huge cultural gap when it comes to compliance. And it also seems that the environment is more fear-based, because the role of HR or management is not about passive intervention. It's more onto active intervention. And if complaints were repeatedly raised without any meaningful action, it just reflects that it's not an individual failure, but it's a deeper cultural and governance issue within the organization. So, and allegations of inaction must be carefully examined through formal investigation. Uh, I do understand that the justice must prevail for both the parties, but it should not make the victim suffer longer, because um, justice is not served by just denying the rights to one side, by ensuring that the system is not failing. Like we've already witnessed it failing for 4 years nearly, and it's systematic issue, and delayed justice only will reflect lack of trust, increased trauma, and I think a fair investigation and psychological support is what is extremely required at the moment. Let's see how the government and TCS put together solve this and ensure that even as humanitarian factor, no excuse lets the people who've done this go away with.
Right. In fact, let's just get you TCS's response. And Ms. Rekha Agarwal, my question to you is this. TCS has come out with a clarification that they have appointed Deloitte and Tri-Legal to lead internal investigations. They've also said that the Nashik unit did not receive any complaints of this nature that are being alleged on either our ethics or POSH channels. How would you see this, Ms. Rekha?
Okay, that is all a subsequent matter, and which will be decided in the court of law when both parties lead evidence, because as you said that an FIR has been registered in this matter, and though we do not have any central law under the BNS to protect anybody who becomes a victim of coercion for conversion to a particular religion, but what is shocking in this matter is that, number one, TCS is one of the country's flagship IT companies, and if such an incident has happened over there, then it certainly shows that if this is happening in a company like TCS, what are the smaller companies doing? So this is not just about Hindu-Muslim conversion. Let's not make it into a debate on Hindu-Muslim. First and foremost, this shows the lack of safety that our women employees are having at the workplace. despite the fact that we have the POSH Act, the Protection of Women from Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act, and we have the system of what is called internal complaint committees. So this shows that there has been a complete failure of providing an internal mechanism of looking at the problems of the women employees. So certainly the victim in this case, as she said that she has made complaints, whether she made them to Nida Khan, whether she was the HR manager or not, but a complaint was definitely made to Nida Khan. And even if she was not the HR manager, it was her duty to refer it to the internal committee. And the internal committee could have looked into the matter, and probably the grievance that the complainant, one or many of them, whoever the number of complainants, maybe it could have been solved at a smaller level without it reaching the level it has. And certainly it lowers the dignity of the company, the reputation of the company. There is a corporate social responsibility that every company has. So having said that, I would say that we should now, probably TCS should now pull up its socks, let Deloitte and Tri Legal Services look into the matter and see, at their own internal level, whether about the genuineness of the complaints, about the veracity of the complaints, etc. But as if this complaint is there of anybody forcing any particular person to convert to a religion, freedom of professing the religion of your choice is a fundamental right guaranteed to every Indian citizen in the country, and we are proud of that. And Maharashtra, it is shocking that this has happened in Maharashtra, which is one of the states in India which has got a very, very strong anti-conversion law, which has been made in 2026, and there can be punishment for up to 10 years if a woman is involved.
Right. We're totally out of time. AK Jain, Rekha Agarwal, Dr. Kiran Preet, firstly, my apologies yet again. I had to keep you wait for a very long time, but an important topic. Thank you for giving us your insights on this. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you in this debate. Thank you so much for joining us. News continues on the other side of break.